This week on UltraCycling Magazine, Joshua Haley's 1,000-kilometer randonneuring vision. Could this be Ohio's PBP? Now on with the show. Here are your hosts, Lee and Jim.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the UltraCycling Magazine show. I'm Jim Lawyer, and there's Lee Kreider. How are we tonight, Lee?
Oh, I am pretty good. I'm healing a little bit every day and getting better. Well, I've got a new studio setup here, Jim.
I love it. I love that screen behind you.
Yeah, my son and daughter-in-law were here for my surgical experience last week,
Mm-hmm.
and they cleaned up my studio, rearranged it. I'm now facing north rather than south.
Got your feng shui going.
Got rid of all that hodgepodge. Well,
Yep.
they got rid of all the hodge and most of the podge. Some new lights. I think they're
Yep.
working pretty well. And I'm now feng shui, Jim.
Yep, there you
Whatever
go.
that means. I should be doing a lot better because I'm feng shui.
Perfect. Well, let's see who we're brought to us by this week. Greg will take it away.
Okie doke.
The UltraCycling Magazine show is brought to you by the Race Across America time stations in Ohio. 41 Oxford, 42 Blanchester, 43 Chillicothe. We would also like to thank the sign man, Mike Minium, for all the route signs in Ohio. They make great souvenirs. Be sure to pick one up at any of the Ohio time stations. $10 gets you a great keepsake and lets us put one more on the route next year. For more great content, be sure to follow us on Facebook. Click that like, hit the subscribe button, and ring that bell on YouTube.
All right. Well, thank you, Greg. I know, Lee, you wanted to talk a little bit probably about WBR, correct?
I do, but first of all, I forgot to mention the fact that I hear there's something on television tonight.
There's a couple of things going on, I think. This
Yeah, I
weekend.
mean, and I'm sorry that we're drawing so many people away from those events. But, and I'm sorry, I apologize to our guests this evening that we scheduled them on a night like this. But the good thing is this is recorded and people can watch this anytime. So we're glad about that. Well, last year we started a campaign for providing 10 bicycles through World Bicycle Relief.
Correct. Very good call.
And when we did that, that was for my 90th birthday.
Yep,
I thought, I don't know if we can ever reach that goal or not.
I agree.
And by golly, we have, and we've gone over it, that goal.
Definitely.
And so let's put that slide up, Jim,
All right.
so we can tell where we're at. It says $2,819, but that doesn't tell the whole story, Jim.
Correct. I agree.
Because a lot of those gifts came in during the time, some of which we had a double match, and some of the time we had a triple match.
Correct.
And I was assured by World Bicycle Relief that our donations through our program got those matches, but they would not show up on our goal.
Gotcha.
So I've tried to figure this out as best I can. And I believe, Jim, that probably, I can assure you that we came up with 22 bicycles.
That is awesome.
And we're just tickled to death about that. That's not just 22 bikes, Jim. That's 22 families.
Correct.
Who've had their lives changed.
Definitely.
Because it's a family. The mother gets up first thing in the morning. She rides off to the well to get water. Comes back. The father puts the milk from his cow on there and takes it to market. He gets back. The young girl jumps on the bike and rides to school.
Yep.
And again, this is a life-changing, a bicycle changes lives. And
correct.
So we've had a little chit-chat. We haven't talked about it anymore. We just mentioned it in passing between Jim and I about maybe we might try to do something like that again.
Definitely.
And we want to thank Dr. Vince and Diane Marcel of
From Infinity
Infinity
Bike.
Bike Seats, because their help is what put us over the goal,
Definitely.
both in terms of the seat and also a generous donation on their part as
Mhm.
well.
Yes.
So we thank them for that. So we thank all of you for what you did for World Bicycle Relief.
Yes.
We don't have I'm sorry, I didn't get the thing up there, but it's donate.ucm.bike. You see our logo, our URL down there in the lower right. Just add donate dot ahead of that, and it'll take you there if you'd like to make a donation. And if we do have a campaign starting as of today, anybody that donates from here on will go in that campaign
Definitely.
hopper, and who knows what we might have to offer
This
next
year.
summer.
That's
Jim.
correct. Yep. Definitely.
I'm really pleased. I'm really, really pleased about that.
Yep. I really appreciate all of our viewers kicking in and helping that.
Yes,
It
yes,
makes a big difference to some people out there.
it does, and
Yep.
it fits in with our scheme here as a show,
Mm-hmm.
and our concern for a real life charity.
Correct.
Well,
Okay. Let me get to the RAM updates real quick, and then we'll
Yeah.
get on to our guest. All right. So, as you know, 2026 is going to be a good RAM year. So here are the updates. Here is our RAM, Ray, and Roll update for February 8th, 2026. We have 38 total racers racing Race Across America, comprised of 1 2-person team, 3 4-person teams, 2 8-person teams, and 18 solo racers. In the Race Across the West, we have 18 total racers, comprised of 4 2-person teams and 10 solo racers. And for the Race Across the East, we have 12 total racers, comprised of 1 4-person team and 8 solo racers. Currently, we have 12 countries represented from around the world racing in the 3 races this year.
okay, and we want to remind people, Jim, that they can ask questions and make comments by using the comments section in either YouTube or Facebook.
Definitely.
When we get our guests in here, so let's just go ahead and bring him in.
All right.
I see you call yourself Josh. We've been calling you Joshua. Is that how you like to be called?
Josh is fine.
Josh Holly. And where are you in Cleveland area, Joshua?
Actually, I'm about an hour south of Cleveland, so Canton, for
Okay.
anybody who's familiar with
All right.
Northeast Ohio.
All right. Well, like we said before we went on the air, UltraCycling Magazine has been getting increasingly interested and supportive of randonneuring, ODOX, brevet, whatever you want to call it. I think it's all the same thing. But then we saw a fact that we were going to have an event, and I thought it was new. I understand it used to happen here years ago. Now let me get. I practiced saying this, so I'll get it right. C to C to C, correct, Josh?
Yep, I just say Cleveland-Cincinnati-Cleveland because
There you
the
go.
acronym is somehow more confusing than spelling
It's
it
hard.
out.
It's hard to say, and so we're talking about a randonneur event. What is it? Well, first of all, Jim, let's find out a little bit about Josh.
Yeah, definitely.
Tell us a little bit about your background in cycling and how long you've been doing this and crazy stuff.
I mean, I got into cycling after I graduated from college and kind of worked my way up from, doing the weekly club ride to riding a couple of centuries in the summer and then kind of trying to figure out like what's next. And it was the end of 2016. I also discovered randonneuring kind of for the first time and dived into it and just really fell in love with this style of cycling. So it's non-competitive, unsupported, ultra cycling events, but they're faster than a tour, but it's not a race. So there's a time limit, but it works out to you're going to have a really, really good long day on the bike, which is just really enjoyable. So I definitely enjoy having some kind of external motivator, one, to go out there and do it, but too, it's something that you can do in a weekend, and you're not completely cooked for weeks. It's not, a week-long bike tour that you really got to plan your life around. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, I have to kind of smile when you say non-competitive. I'm not real sure that's always the case, because we still know who comes in first.
Yeah, there are definitely people are competitive. I will say, the way that things are done officially in the sport, though, is every finisher is listed in alphabetical order, no matter when they finished, and all that matters is
We
that they
understand that.
finished
It's
within
just,
time.
I have a theory. If there's two cyclists together on the road, there's almost sure to be a race of some sort. But
I have noticed when I ride with people, I tend to ride a lot faster than when I'm out doing the ride solo.
Yeah. I suppose most people watching this will understand what randonneuring is, but maybe for the one person out there that doesn't understand, can you give us a quick description of what a randonneuring event looks like? Say, let's just start with a 200K. What's going to happen on a 200K event?
Okay, yeah. So all randonneuring brevets kind of follow a very similar format, where there is a fixed course, a mass start time, and then a number of checkpoints along the route where you have to get some form of proof of passage. So, as time's moving forward, we're using a lot of electronic proof of passage using GPS devices. But, traditionally you get this brevet card, which looks kind of like a passport. And then along the route at controls, if they're staffed or a gas station, either pick up a receipt with time and location, or, get stamped by a volunteer. So it's kind of cool. It's not supported. So even though there are controls, a lot of them it's a gas station. There isn't going to be a welcome wagon or, a SAG tent set up there to feed you. You're kind of figuring things out over the course of the ride and foraging off the land, as it were, or off the gas station. Eat a lot of very questionable foods on brevets that would surprise you. And then depending upon the length of the event, there's different time limits. So for a 200K, I think the time limit is 13 and a half hours to finish, which if we math it out, that is not actually super fast in the grand scheme of things.
200K is what, 120, 130 miles, something like that?
124.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the thing with the clock is relentless. The clock never stops once it starts. So if you can manage your time, you can sit down and have a very relaxed lunch. Where that starts getting kind of crazy is, a 600K has a 40-hour time limit. And once again, if we're doing the naive math of how fast you have to go, it doesn't sound that fast. However, the clock doesn't stop if you want to stop to sleep.
Right.
So there's kind of this logistics kind of going on in the back of every rider's head of, how hard do I need to ride on the first day so I can have some time off the bike, whatever I require to sleep, and then get back on in the next morning to finish before 40 hours is up.
Gotcha.
So I would say the biggest difference between, brevet and something kind of like a century event is a lot of the ride happens before you even get on the bike, in the sense of you really need to iron out, here's my logistics for me, and here's how I'm going to complete the ride.
Right. Sandy Yu, we had her on the show last week from Malaysia. She was going for the, Super Randonneur qualification, every year. And we could talk about that in a moment. But she found out the big problem she had was burning her mattress too soon, which is a problem a lot of us have had.
Yep.
And managing that is a very critical thing. Well, now explain what Cleveland, Cincinnati, Cleveland is all about, because I think you're going to avoid Columbus altogether, are you not?
We're going to skirt north of Columbus.
Right.
So while
Right.
I
Very
love
good.
riding the trail through Columbus, and I'll do that as a day tour, there's a lot of trail traffic there in a good way that, can be less fun when you're, 600 kilometers into a ride and you're just trying to make time before the sun sets.
Getting a little giddy and what have you.
Yep.
Um, So briefly describe the route. It's what,
Yeah.
1,000 kilometers, correct?
Yep. So it's 620 miles. It is an out and back. So we have a 5 a.m. start in front of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. So we'll take a pretty awesome group photo for the start before we kick everybody out before the city gets busy. And then I'm trying to remember from memory here. I know we use a lot of the Ohio to Erie Trail in the northeast section getting, perfect, thank you.
Yep.
Getting out of Cleveland, heading south toward the Mount Vernon area. So there's going to be some lumpy bits there that are going to be, quite frankly, a lot of fun for the first 100K. And then people's opinions will change 800K later about those hills. Then north of Columbus, we really take some rural roads to kind of skirt around through the city center there before picking up the trail again near Xenia, I believe, which we take all the way down to Cincinnati. We cross the river there, so you can dip your toes into Kentucky and say I rode to another state, and then we turn around and head home.
So you go to Kentucky. Is that to get the distance, or is that just to be in another state?
Just to be in another state.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is kind of a low support event too. So all the riders will have the opportunity to have a drop bag that I will Sherpa for them to a hotel control that is at the 300K mark and the 700K mark. So other than, that bag, the rest of the route, they're on their own. There's also no real prescribed overnights. So, it pretty naturally lends itself to ride 300K, stop at a hotel, ride 400K, stop back at the same hotel, 300K finish. But, really it's however the rider wants to tackle it. If they want to do 400K as the first leg and kind of figure that out, we don't have any specific places set up that they have to stop for the night. So it kind of like
it's going to be what you call a minimalist event. Would that be accurate, or?
That is accurate. So I saw your question mark, Ohio's PBP, and my immediate reaction was, no. So no, PBP is a beautifully supported event where the folks in the French countryside are just so happy you're there. And it is just amazingly overwhelming in the amount of riders and the amount of spectator participation.
And you have these wonderful stops where you get your card stamped and food and.
Yep, and the whole town is in on it, where it's basically a town-wide party for the event. We're not going to have that. Sorry, I love our
this
event.
Year, but who knows what the future might hold? Who knows what the future might hold? Now, you mentioned your verifications. So some places they can just take a receipt. They bought something there. Is that suffice? I was wondering about that because, some in the middle of the night, some store person, they wouldn't know what this is all about. And
yeah. So you can either have the long conversation about what we're doing, why am I here at 2 a.m, get somebody to initial off, or just grab a receipt.
Yeah.
How many
makes sense?
How many control points are there on the Cleveland-Cincinnati-Cleveland?
I would have to check. It is not as many as you would think. I think there's maybe a 15.
Okay.
So one of the purposes of the control points is the distance in between is supposed to be the minimum legal distance, so there's no ability to shortcut.
Right.
So on really complicated, convoluted routes, you end up with more controls because you can just kind of crisscross.
Okay, I see.
Right.
This
Okay.
this control, we're kind of shooting
Not that
for.
anybody would
Yeah.
short.
No, nobody doing this sport is,
And that's pretty
Yeah.
generally true. I mean, across the whole ultra cycling field, I would say pretty honest people. Jim?
Yep.
About how many people do you expect at this event, or do you know yet?
I don't know yet, but I think we're going to have about 45 to 50. So right now I've got the logistics set up for 50 folks with the ability to add about 30 more people at capacity fairly easily. After that, I need to scrounge up a couple more volunteers and figure out, how much I can intrude upon my current volunteers.
Gotcha. Yeah, volunteers are hard to come by too. I lost my train of thought. Wow, been one of those days.
Yeah.
His train of thought derailed.
There you go.
Yeah, so our registration for the event is not yet open. It
Right.
opens next Sunday. If you see the rider cap of 45, I would not worry about that too much. And if for some reason it is completely booked up on Sunday, that is a great problem for me to have.
Mm-hmm.
We'll increase the capacity and we'll figure out a way to make it work.
Yep, I remember now. Logistics. How did you become the owner or the event manager, so to speak?
So I am Ohio's Regional Brevet Administrator, RBA. I took over that role in 2023 from the prior RBA, who is retiring. So this is a volunteer position with Randonneurs USA, and we're basically the regional middle management in charge of running the event and execution, and Randonneurs USA, RUSA, is the sanctioning group with for the United States, who interfaces with our French overlords, the ACP, OTET Club Creusion.
Okay.
This is a super French sport. So if there's any rules where you're like, why is that like that? Someone in France in like 1935 said it should be done this way, and it's been done that way ever since.
Gotcha. Now, to do your ride, you have to be a member of RUSA?
You do. So that is how we handle our liability insurance. That's handled at a national level. So Randonneurs USA covers that for us.
Gotcha. Perfect. Lee?
Follow up on Jim's question. If you're a member of RUSA, which is Randonneurs USA, I'm always hesitant to just use these names because some people might know what it means. Would that be all you would need to become eventually a part of PBP? I mean, that's the membership I know you have to qualify, but that membership entitles you to be a part of PBP, right?
It entitles you to ride the events required to actually sign up for PBP.
And I just said, don't do that. Paris-Brest-Paris is what we're talking about. And like I told you before we went on the air, when we covered Paris-Brest-Paris 2023, that was our biggest audience we've ever had for anything on the UltraCycling Magazine, although our name was different at the time. And we won't mention that because I'm trying to get that out of my brain. But also, interestingly enough, we had the one person who actually finished London-Edinburgh-London on the show, another great big hit. So randonneuring has a following out there, and it shows up when we do anything around it on our show.
Yeah, it really does. It's I don't really know how to describe it. It feels like it's this small niche inside the U.S., but you get to these kind of marquee international events, and like they're going to have 8,000 rider slots for the next edition of Paris-Brest-Paris. Paris-Brest-Paris. Paris. I feel like I should.
Your
pick
French
one,
is coming out there.
Yeah, I either need to say it the French way or give up and just say Paris.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, we found out last time and also since then that an awful lot of people in Southeast Asia, particularly, have been interested in randonneuring because it's partly cultural, maybe somewhat safety, but I think largely cultural. They do not like to ride alone like they do in ultra cycling events.
Hmm.
They like to be more involved with groups. And I guess, I mean, drafting is permitted at
Hmm.
randonneuring events, is it not?
Yep, drafting is permitted. So I think it all depends on the type of event where you are. So
Yeah.
yeah, Paris-Brest or LEL, I never rode alone.
Mhm.
In the U.S. here, I think some of our events are much smaller. So if you have a super long event and you've only got 5 or 6 starters,
Yep.
you're probably going to spend some time alone. So your mileage
Yeah,
may vary.
yeah.
Yep.
Now, let's say somebody has never done a randonneuring event before and wants to be part of your event. Is it too late for them to start training now and become that, or how would you tell them to become a randonneur?
Yeah, I would say we have a whole calendar of events this year ranging from 200 kind of building up to the 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, that is a great progression where, if you can ride, 100K or a century, making the jump up to a 200K is not as extreme as it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And, once you finish a 200K, a jump up to 300K is not as extreme as it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, as you're increasing the distance, you're really figuring out what works and doesn't work for you. So, if it's somebody who's only ever ridden a century and it was a couple of years ago, this is probably not the best stretch goal for you.
Right.
If it's somebody who can kind of follow that progression, and especially the big one is do something like a 600K where you can experience a really long day on the bike and then getting back on in the next morning, that's kind of the peak of how bad it can get. And after that, like more days, you just kind of refine things. So it's no longer a big deal for you.
Mm-hmm.
And
But yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
and just to say it, Paris-Brest-Paris is coming up again in 2027. You're going to start qualifying in 2026, correct? I mean, 2027, early in the year.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
it might be something somebody wants to think about. If you'd like to be a part of what I've heard to be explained as the oldest bicycling event in the world,
Yeah.
and a real festival, I kind of regret that I missed out on all this, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a
Yep.
tremendous amount of fun, and I would encourage people to think about this. Maybe you're not going to go to Paris, but who knows? You might. And
Hmm.
get in touch and on our show notes, which is in the description below this video. You will see a link to the registration for uh, Cleveland-Cincinnati-Cleveland. I get that
Yay,
correct.
Lee.
I did it right for a change. And also, there you can find the link to, the heading will be for the Ohio Randonneurs, is it not?
Hmm.
I believe
Yep.
so. You can find
Yep.
out on that site, from that site we have listed there, uh, a lot you need to know to become a part of this. And it's people take a lot of pride, I find, in getting those little cards stamped, even the 200K. Hey, I've never. Well, I guess I've got some certificates on Tazer, but
Hmm.
nobody
Yeah.
nobody could ever prove that I really did it. I just came in and says I finished, and they gave me a certificate. But here you got to have the proof in hand, do you not, Josh?
Yep. Yeah. There's definitely a feeling of accomplishment there. Something about the process, and I don't know. I definitely kind of bike nerd out over the fact that randonneuring's been going on in some form for like 120 some odd years at this point. So it's kind of a part of rich history.
Gotcha.
And
Now,
in the
go ahead,
United
Lee.
States, there's what is it? Boston, Montreal, Boston, is it?
Yeah, that one, unfortunately, they're not running anymore.
Oh,
I want to say
okay.
the last time they ran that was in Guess somebody's going to tell me I'm getting this wrong. 2006, 2007. Combination of the organizer at the time was kind of stepping back, and then just traffic along the historic route. But way back in the day, Boston, Montreal, Boston was like the only 1200K in the United States. And now I think we've got like 12 different 1200Ks running across the U.S. next year.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really kind of grown quite a bit in the U.S. here as far as number of 1200K events.
Excellent.
And of course, this last year we had the London-Edinburgh-London, which turned out to be. Were you there, Josh?
Yes. I spent the
And
night in Richmond.
Did you ride at all, or?
Yep, about 1,000K actually. I made it
Wow.
290 miles in, and then they turned us back around and
Turned you around, yeah,
sent us
because
south.
there was a massive storm, and as it turned out, only one person got all the way to Edinburgh. And
I don't know if he was super happy about that, though.
I don't know. He said he was blown off the bike 2 or 3 times, and we had him on the show, and it was quite a popular show because, I guess they had stopped the race before he got to Edinburgh, but after he'd left the last checkpoint.
Yeah.
So he was able to make it all the way. But yeah, that was kind of a disaster. And you hate to do that, but that was a wise choice, given the conditions. I understand it.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because it rained in the morning and it actually cleared up and was sunny. And like the weather looked nice, and then all of a sudden the wind just started picking up, and the wind never let up, and it was this like rainless tropical storm. It was very bizarre. But I remember sleeping under the table in the school in Richmond there, and you can just hear the wind whistling outside the windows, and it sounded like when a hurricane's passing through Florida. It was, yeah. And then the fact we were stopped for that long, where they were kind of watching the weather, and everybody's watching the weather, knowing it's not getting any better. You had a lot of time to kind of accept what was going to happen, and also kind of accept that it was actually really the right thing. So, yeah, I don't know. I was not disappointed. I still had a great time. I buddied up with some randonneuring folks local here, and we just took a tour back south, and it was great.
You didn't get any clotted cream or while you were there, did you? That's my.
No, but once we turned south, we stopped at pubs for lunch and dinner, and it was great.
Great. Yeah, I always say if I get to heaven and they don't have clotted cream there, I'm going to say, what other options have you got?
Gotcha.
But I just love that particular thing. Anyhow.
Now, is there any special equipment you need to be a randonneur, or is it just your standard bike and camping equipment?
So that camping would that would put you on the extreme. I've definitely seen some people with more bike packing stuff, but it's probably more weight than you'd need. I would say the couple of things you absolutely need: lighting and reflective gear, both a vest and ankle bands. So we have some requirement on that, because you're gonna be riding at the dark at some point, whether it's early morning, late at night, and randonneuring is rain or shine, so riding through the rain. Other than that, whatever bike your body is happy with for the distance. There's people on carbon racing bikes. I've got a steel single speed that I'm fond of. I've taken my Brompton out for 200-300K. I know of one lady who has finished brevets on a fat tire bike, but that is a level beyond what I'm probably ever going to attempt.
Gotcha. Now, are tandems allowed in these events?
Are what?
Tandems allowed on these events. Okay.
Yep. The only requirement is it has to be human powered.
Okay.
So I think one of the funnier things I've seen at PBP is probably I can't remember if they were German or Italian, but it was these 3 dudes, super jacked, matching kits on a triple tandem, and like going up a mountain, they just looked like a machine.
Mm-hmm.
And at the top of the mountain, you'd pass by them, and they were stopped for a smoke break, and your mind's just like, what is happening right now?
Takes all kinds. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that used to be some of the fun of large events with some of the kooky people that came out. And then it kind of got to the place, Josh, where all you saw was high-end bikes with people wearing Lycra, and, you know, there was no Blues Brothers or a guy with a piano playing as he rode along, you know. We got too serious.
I don't know if you're going to find Blues Brothers piano level of kooky, but you'll definitely see just about every type of bike, riding. I think that's one of the things I really enjoyed about my first PBP experiences. 6,000 riders. I can't think of any bike I didn't see. So yeah. The upright racing trikes from the UK, that was the first time I saw one of those was at PBP, and I had to do a double take. I'm like, that looks cool.
We rode with one of those in the British Tandem Club, a tandem trike.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Upright, full-size wheels. And what these people love to do is let you try it out, and when you turned, you'd fall over. Because you got to shift your center of gravity. And, people think trikes, well, they can't fall over. Well, they're more likely to fall over than a two-wheel machine.
Wow.
But yeah, those are great things. Jack, who makes those? I forget the name of them. Yeah, you see a lot of them over there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, we've got Greg Cunifor coming on next week. Jim, he's going to race across the West. Didn't get a graphic up about him, but we'll be back here next week, same time, same station. And want to say thank you for all you who are watching.
Mm-hmm.
We'll let you get back to your ball game
or the Olympics
here.
Yeah,
I'm sure that you probably put it on hold or recording or something. But we didn't have anybody check in, I don't think, Jim.
No, but we did have a few viewers out there watching. So
had a few people here, not a lot.
Definitely. So if you still want to give us a chat and let us know where you're watching from, you've got a little bit of time left, and then
hurry up because there's a little bit of delay before it gets here.
Yeah. So if they want more information, check out your website, the Ohio Randonneurs, and then you said the link would go live next week to register, correct?
That's correct. And also, I've got a contact link on there, and if you click that ends up in my email. If somebody has any questions, comments, or concerns, I'm usually pretty responsive.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I've got kind of a scary note in there about hey, you should have ridden a 600K before doing this.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, don't let this be your aspirational ride. If up until now you rode a century once a couple of summers ago.
Right.
If you kind of understand riding in the dark and doing a couple of long days in a row, I think you'll have a lot of fun at this event.
Excellent.
Well, I think anybody that's been in some of our ultracycling events, like Jim here runs the Race Across the East, or say a 24-hour time trial event, and they've probably turned in 300 or 400 miles. They probably would be ready to try this on.
Yep. Look who's out there.
Hey, Judy Stutz.
Yeah.
Hey, Judy.
Do you know Judy?
Oh, I know Judy. Occasionally, I can keep up with Judy on a bike.
I heard that.
Only for a little bit.
Well, Judy, she's a great gal, and
Definitely.
We love Judy. Anyhow, what was I going to say? Just seeing the name.
I don't know, but it just reminded me, though. I had somebody sign up for a 400K last year who'd never done any randonneuring before, and they weren't really online, so I was getting a little worried. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I rode Natchez and qualified for RAM," and I'm like,
"No problem,
dude. Your problem is gonna be slowing down and accepting the amount of weird gas station food you're gonna eat."
Yeah. What about people like have done the multi-day rides, the week-long rides that you stop every night and sleep? Do you think they can accomplish the same thing, like a 500-mile ride like that?
Honestly, I think it's going to depend on what sort of ride you're talking about.
Right.
If you're talking about like, hey, I'm doing 50 miles a day and then I'm having 12 hours off the bike, this
Right.
is definitely going to be a stretch. If they can get up to the point where they can ride, 150 miles and then think about the bike the next day is still a good idea.
Right.
I think they're the right type of crazy for randonneuring.
Excellent. Perfect.
Okay.
Well, we really appreciate your time and all that you're doing for randonneuring and UltraCycling.
Oh, thank you for having me on. I'm, pleasure to talk about it. And like I said, I'm really psyched for this
Well,
event.
stay in touch with us, Josh. Keep us informed as what's going on. If we don't, I think I started following Rush on Facebook or something, trying to keep up a little bit with what's happening in randonneuring in the United States and perhaps around the world. And like I said, we've discovered that it's very, very popular in our new contacts in Southeast Asia. Mm-hmm. And my goodness, Josh, all over the place. Mm-hmm. Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and of course, our biggest audience after the United States is India.
Mm-hmm. I think they're one of the fastest growing presence at the last two PBPs was India and Southeast Asia. So it's really just exploding there.
Yeah, and we're just happy to see that. I'd like to make some contacts in China, but I haven't done that yet. And if anybody knows anybody there, please help us make that contact, and that would be great. So, we'll be looking forward to this. I'm already getting excited about PVP in 2027. We're starting to lay some thoughts down with some people about trying to have even more reporters there than we did last time. And if you'd like to have a job, Josh, we'll give you the standard rate of pay for doing that. And hey, it's not a big deal. Anybody can do it.
Yeah.
And we'll help you, get organized. I'll even send you the link to our playlist from 2023. Okay.
Okay. I will let you know beforehand. My primary job of the next PVP is going to be finishing the next PVP.
Yeah.
And my level of coherence goes down quite a bit as the ride continues.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. We're going to find Greg and get out of here. And
that's fine, Greg.
Yep. Stay on.
This is Gregory Zuber, thanking you for watching and sharing.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.
It takes a while for it to kill it.
Yeah, but we were silent. We were